Hello there, Michelle G here, Bendy Stitchy. My pronouns are she, her. Today is Saturday, October 19th. I just practiced that. And this is my Flosstube. This is a channel where I talk about cross stitch and things related to cross stitch and then other things that I like. So if you stay if it's your first time here, welcome. Thank you for stopping by. If it's not your first time here, you know the drill. But if you are new here, then I will talk about cross stitch first. And at the end, I put a section where I talk about my tarot card of the day, which I pull mostly every day now, and books that I've read. And then any kind of I don't really keep life updates till the end. I kind of intersperse them with what I'm doing because everything has a story, right? Okay, so getting started. I keep all of my stitching stats on something called the Notion app. And the Notion app is this big database tracker thing. And then our friend Nati, Stitchy Nati, she made a template for cross stitch. So every day I put in how much I stitched and approximately how much time, and it tracks it. So the last time I filmed was 2 weeks ago. Since then I've had 10 stitching days. I'm looking at my other screen for my data. I've had 10 stitching days, about 20 hours of stitching, and 3,600 stitches. So that is not bad. So in that time, I managed what I like to call an FFN, which is finished for now. And this pattern that is finished for now, this is Mother Maya from Ink Circles. I've been wanting to stitch this for a really, really long time. This is not my project. This is my friend Heather's project. This is part of a rogue round robin that I'm in, meaning we just organized it on our own. It's not part of a greater, a bigger group. It's just the four of us. Heather, Stephanie, Rachel Ray, and myself. And what Heather did is, because there's 16 motifs on this, they divided it up into 4 motifs each. And they stitched a few, and then they sent it to Steph and said, pick your 4, and then Steph sent it to me, and I picked my 4, and now there's 4 left. Rachel, unfortunately, is the only one that didn't get to pick her motifs because she was last, but I think we saved some really good motifs for her. So here is Mother Maya. So this is on 40 count buttercream linen from, I think it's Bestitch Me, but I can check. This is on 40 count. Oh, definitely put the wrong fabric on this. I'm almost positive this is on 40 count buttercream. So you'll just have to take my word for it because I recorded it wrong. But I do know that the floss is called Wine, and it's from Almond M&Ms, and it's a silk. So here it is, Mother Maya. And I finished this motif. I call it the bitey snake. This motif, which I'm calling turtles. This motif, dragons. And this motif, butterflies. And the butterflies, I did hashtag butterflies and borders Sal for my friend Danielle. Danielle just had her birthday, and she said for her birthday, Sal, just stitch on anything with borders and anything with butterflies. So I intentionally chose that butterfly motif so that I could participate in Danielle's birthday, Sal. So that is that. It was beautiful. It was so much fun to stitch. I forgot how much I really like stitching on monochromatic things. Really, really like stitching on monochromatic things. And then Heather was nice enough. She bought a huge hank of this silk from Ymir at Almond M&Ms. And they bought a huge hank of silk. And they divided it up and said, keep your quarter of silk because they don't need it all. So I did. I kept my quarter of silk. So that was a finish. I had showed it on the last video. With the move and everything to the new place, this is where the life updates come in. With the move and everything to the new place, I didn't stitch as much, shockingly, since we were moving and unpacking and blah, blah, blah. But the crawfish is done, except for this pile of stuff that's waiting to be hung up. But I got my Blacked Sky on the wall. I think it's a little crooked. But so I had that finish, and then I also had a SAF, SAF, start and finish, but I can't show you because it's for a collaboration, and the collaboration is being led by my friend Amanda at Bad Stitch, and I can't give you a whole lot of details except to tell you that it's a charity collaboration, which I'm honored to be a part of. I'm absolutely humbled by the other designers that are in the collaboration. There are almost 30 of us, and when I tell you that you need to subscribe, or you need to follow Amanda Bad Stitch on Instagram. I'll link her below. This collaboration is absolutely incredible. I've seen the designs, y'all, and the fact that these designs are being released as a compilation for a charity, like, I can't tell you how excited I am to be part of it and how good it's going to be. I already have like 3 or 4 picked out that I have to stitch right away. The one that I'm starting with, absolutely, hands down, 100%, is Nuri from Shaded Stitchery. I love her design. But I can't show you my design. But what I can show you kind of are the colors, because you might remember this piece, you might not remember this piece. Either way, you might never have seen this piece before if it's your first time here. So what I do is I do something called a tail end project. And I'll show you a finished tail end project. So you know how sometimes you're stitching on a piece and you finish up the last stitch of a color in a piece and you have like this much floss left or this much, and you just don't want to put it back on the floss drop? So I decided I would do something called a tail end project. I made that up. Someone has probably used that term before, but I have been using the term for this. So this is actually called Quaker Coronet from Queenstown Sampler Designs. And it represents all of the little bits of floss that I had left over from all of the pieces that I was working on during this time. So I don't know what they all are, but I have it written down. But you could, like, all of this up here is, don't tell me, This Juneteenth Day from Shaded Stitchery. This is a model that I stitched. This is a peanut butter and jelly ATC. You can see, like, this is the peanut butter, this is the jelly. This is a swap that I stitched on. This down here is actually beads, and that's from a little Mill Hill pumpkin that I did. So I finished this piece at Pacific Northwest Stitch Summit. There's beads here and there's beads here. The pumpkin really finished it all off with the beads. So then I flipped the fabric over and started a new one. So the new one is called A Summer Bower. A Summer Bower. This is a modern folk embroidery pattern, and this was actually in the Lakeside Needlecraft. Lakeside Needlecraft put out a book in 2020, and Jacob at Modern Folk Embroidery was a part of it. I was actually a part of it too, happily enough. But this is Summer Bower, and this is what it looks like monochromatic, and this is what it's starting to look like as a tail end project. So you can see I have the center here, and then I came down. So I just finished my super secret collaboration project, and it's these colors here. So it's this white, blue, peachy red, yellow, green, and brown. And that is all the sneak peek that you're getting. You're just going to have to wait and see. But when I tell you that you absolutely need to watch Amanda's Space, sneak peeks are going to start coming and announcements are going to start coming right about a little bit after Halloween. Please watch Amanda's Space, because you're just not going to want to miss it. And then I keep track on this. This is the back of the pattern. And I keep track on here. I have written, like, I circled the spot that Persian Pumpkin did and Retreat Spot Sampler. So I'll circle down here and write the name of my project that I'm cagey enough not to tell you. So that's everything that I've worked on in 2 weeks. 2 weeks. I've worked on 3 projects in 2 weeks. I've been busy. What are you going to do? I've still put in 3,600 stitches, so that's good. Plans. I have many plans. And the first plan is to mail stuff. The second plan is I need to stitch, not need to, I get to, I participate in an ATC exchange, which is an artist trading card. And I might as well, this usually goes in the Happy Mail section, but since I'm talking about it, Heather, Link is my homeboy, has an extra Instagram called Stitchy Swap and ATC. I'll try to link it below if I can remember. And every 2 months, she hosts an ATC exchange. An ATC is an artist trading card. And you can do many different mediums, right? But the gist is the entire thing has to be the size of a playing card or a baseball card. And this bi-monthly theme was Autumn Vibes. So this is from Donna, Stitch X Love, and it's Sweater Weather. And this is this is actually a freebie. This pattern is a freebie from Dirty Cuss Stitch. So you stitch something super small, you put it onto the playing card size. Donna's so smart. she has this whole, like, everything's branded. She's so smart. I do not have everything branded. I am not I am not the kind of businesswoman that a lot of these cross stitch designers are. But Sweater Weather is mine, is the one I received from Donna. So I will be stitching one, and my partner likes a little bit more of a spooky vibe. So let me see. I opened it up. So this is what I'll be stitching. I'm a member of the Witchy Stitchers Patreon, and this is called Pumpkin Krampus, I believe. Pumpkin Krampus. And yeah, it's from Meg's Patreon, the Witchy Stitcher. So if you're not on the Patreon, then you might not have this. But I'm gonna stitch this up, and this is actually going to. I have a tattoo. I have a tattoo of 2 dead birds under a rock, and the rock says Mom and Dad on it because my brother and I wanted to get Mom and Dad tattoos, but we didn't want to put Mom and Dad in a heart because our parents split up when we were young. So I was in getting a tattoo. My brother and I shared the same tattoo artist in Michigan when we both lived there. I was getting a tattoo and he was sitting with me. We used to hang out with each other while we got tattooed. And we were talking about how we wanted a Mom and Dad tattoo, but we didn't want to get 2 separate tattoos, but we couldn't do a heart. And I was like, yeah, I really just kind of want to kill 2 birds with 1 stone, but I'm not sure how to do it. And my tattooer like took his foot off the gas, whipped off his gloves, and drew up this. It's 2 dead birds under a rock, and the rock says Mom and Dad on it. And my dad thought that was hilarious till the day he died, and my mom still, that's not her favorite of my tattoos. But my brother and I still laugh at it. So all that to say, I love double dipping, killing 2 birds with 1 stone, whatever colloquialism you would like to use. So one of the very few sals, if you will, or challenges that I've been able to keep up with this year is Pick-a-Whip. And Pick-a-Whip is the brainchild of Marjorie Made Stitches, and every fortnight Marjorie gives us a prompt. And again, you're looking at my Notion app, and this is a template that Nati has made. So because I've been talking about Notion a lot, I'll link Nati down below. You can get the Stitchery template that I use to keep track of all of my stitching stuff. She has a Flosstube planner. She has a Pick-a-Whip. She has a Swap and Sal planner. She has a Retreat planner. She has a WIP Go planner. There's so many different templates you can get. But this is my Pick-a-Whip. And you can see that I've done a really good job. See all these greens? Keeping up, until we bought a house and moved, which is kind of understandable, I think. So the 3 most recent projects are an Aida project, a Halloween project, and a project from someone else's WIP parade. So my plan is to stitch this Pumpkin Krampus on Aida fabric. Or Ada. It doesn't matter how you say it. Sometimes I say Ada. I'm feeling fancy today, so I'm saying Aida. It actually is Aida. I talked to my friend Jean Farish about this, and I think it was Zweigart that first made Aida fabric, and they had been making it and calling it something else, and it just was not selling. And then the opera Aida came out, and all of Europe was wild for Aida. And so Zweigart, in a genius marketing move, renamed this type of fabric after the opera. So it is in fact called Aida. All that being said, it doesn't much matter how you say it because everybody knows what you're saying. And I think also, to Jean's point, which I love her for, is everybody's going to say it differently, so don't correct anybody. We know what we're talking about. Anyway, so see my little tangents? I've missed y'all. This is what happens when I don't film for a week. So if I stitch this little guy on Aida, then I will be killing 2 birds with 1 stone. I will be stitching on an Aida project and a Halloween project, and then I'll get that third bird with 1 stone by also fulfilling a swap for the Stitchy Swap and ATC. 10 out of 10. 2 birds with 1 stone, great. 3 birds with 1 stone, magnifique. That's going to make my day, knocking off 3 birds with 1 stone. So that's my plan number 1. My plan number 2 is this bag is from my friend Miriam, who is Marumi Designs. this is one of her stitches. And she sewed this bag with her own hands. And then she gifted it to me. And I want to show you this not only because it has one of my plans in it, but also because you're going to want to remember this concept a little later in the video, because I have some stuff to show you that is absolutely incredible that I cannot wait to show you and to share. So my next plan is I would like to stitch, and I'm pulling it up right now so you can see the thing that I would like to stitch. The other Sal that I've managed to keep up with this entire month, that I'm really, really proud to have done, is I have been keeping up with Dee's 20 Stitches Stitch for Pride. And Stitch for Pride is a Sal that Dee's 20 Stitches, they marketed it last November, December, and sold it to us. And he's been releasing a pattern every month. The fabric is dyed by Jessie at Mislaid Pages, and the flosses, if you got the called for, I missed out. If you got the called for, they're dyed by Jasmine at KN Yarns. And every month we get a pattern for a spot sampler based on an artist in the 2S LGBTQIA+ community. So October is Edward Gorey, and this is the pattern, which is amazing. I did not get the flosses, but my goal after I finished my partner, I almost called her by name, even though the cat's out of the bag. She already knows she's my partner. After I finish my partner's ATC, my goal is to stitch that Edward Gorey onto my spot sampler, because I've been keeping up, y'all. Like, this is all kept, so January, February, March, April, May, June, July, August, September. And then I think October goes here, if I'm not mistaken. And then October gets us to the far edge. So then we just have November and December left. I'm not sure which way they go, but we just have two spots left after this. And so I've kept up with this for the entire year, and that is absolutely unheard of for me. I never keep up with my Sals. But this fabric is 40 count Determination, and it's Verdal, which is a even weave. 40 count Verdal. If I had to choose one fabric to stitch on, one and only fabric to stitch on for the rest of my life, it would be 40 count Verdal. Sorry, Aida and everything that has a fancier name. But that's my project. And I've been stitching it with a variety of flosses. There's Forbidden Fiber Co., there's Stitchy Box Silks, there's there's Cottage Garden on there. There's all kinds of stuff. I don't know if there's a Threadworks. But the other thing that I've been doing, I stitched January all in blue, but then February, I put a little bit of January's color in it. And then March got some of February's color, April got some of etc. and so forth. So I've been carrying the colors through it. It didn't work as well from July to August because this is a Cottage Garden thread, and I used the wrong end of the floss. I should have fussy cut the floss and made the eye and the hand this darker blue. I still might go back and pick that out because I'm a little bit precious about it. I think September, this brown is a Threadworks. So now I have a Threadworks in there. So I'll incorporate some of this peachy brown into this Edward Gorey piece. I'm not sure where, but I'll find a place. So if you have suggestions on where I should incorporate this peachy brown into this piece, please let me know down in the comments, because I'll also peruse Instagram, because what I also do is check and see who's already done it and have they done it better. Like this month in July, this month in July, my friend Helen, the Ditty Stitcher, she's the one who placed those yellows. And I was just like, Helen, can I use your placement? And she, of course, why are you asking that? But I like to ask, it's nice. So that's my plan number 2. Plan number 3 is I got a lot of designing to do. So I have a lot of designing to do. So that's plan number 3 is I got to design some stuff. And then Marjorie also gave us the challenge for this fortnight for Pick a WIP, which is a project from someone else's WIP parade. So I got some WIP parades to watch. Darn the homework. But that's okay because it's supposed to start raining here soon in Eugene. I'm in Eugene, Oregon, by the way. It's supposed to start raining here soon in Eugene, and once it starts raining, like, if we're not mall walking, then we're inside. So that'll be good. So those are my plans, I think. Let me check. Stitch for Pride catch-up, Pick a WIP with the ATC. Those are my plans. Happy Mail, I already showed you this one. My ATC came in from Donna, which I love. And then this one, so this will be a conversation about Happy Mail and also a segue into charity stuff. Because from 2 weeks ago, I still haven't posted my charities, so I swear I'm going to post them today. Famous last words. I got a big old thing of things from my friend Karina. My friend Karina is the maker of the Floss Buddy. Karina, her business name is called Bags Plus. And I sent her some stuff. I'm going to build the suspense. I sent her some stuff to work on for me. And she sent me back a whole bunch more stuff than I anticipated. So she sent me all of these handled bags. So these are bags, cross-stitch project bags with handles. It has a zipper on one side, here. And then the other side is a clear pocket. So this side is usable as well. And I have 3 with this amazing, cool Hocus Pocus fabric. 2 of them have this quilted on the inside, just plain blue quilted. One of them has this swirlies. It's not quilted, but it's swirlies. Then I have 2 more handled bags with this super cool jungle animal fabric on it with these honeycombs on the inside. 2 more of those. These will all be paired up with WIPs and made into kits for charity. I have this one with these great witches on it. I might actually throw this into I have a charity auction item this week that might fit for that bag. And then I have this pretty sunflowers. And I love what she's doing on the inside now with the quilting of these. I just love the quilting. Oh, you can actually see it better through the plastic. I just love the quilting. So she sent me all those, which I was not expecting because what I sent her were these things. So I sent her some finishes. And this is a Floss Buddy. So if you see that behind me, that's a Floss Buddy Ultimate. I think it's a Floss Buddy Ultimate. That's a Floss Buddy Ultimate. This behind me is big enough to hold the entire collection of DMC. I have all of my DMC in there, except it doesn't hold the 4000s. It doesn't hold the variegated Coloris and everything in the 4000s. And it doesn't quite get to the top of the 3800s. If you include, like up at the top, I included some of the 100 variegateds in there. So if you include the 100 variegateds, then it doesn't get all the way to the 3600s. But if you leave out all the variegated DMC, this thing holds all your DMC. Every last bobbin of DMC will fit in there. So this is a regular size Floss Buddy though, and it's made to hold bobbins just like that. She also has some that hold floss drops. She has all kinds of different ones. But I sent Karina some finishes that I had kicking around that I didn't know what to do with, and she turned them into Floss Buddies. So you remember this, right? I said Medium inspired me. She took her project and made it into a project bag. I don't have the sewing skills that some of my friends have. So I sent these finishes to Karina and she turned them into Floss Buddies. So this one is, I didn't stitch this one. This one was given to me at a retreat by someone who said, "You like lighthouses, right? Here, this is for you." So I asked Karina to turn it into a Floss Buddy. I think this is a 45. She has all different sizes of Floss Buddies. This is Medium's Perky Lion. And these are all covered, like you can see, because they're shiny here. So she uses this vinyl for the pockets for the Floss Buddy. She covered the stitching in vinyl so that it doesn't get snagged. You can just throw this whole thing in your project, your bigger project bag or your purse or whatever and go. There's no pocket here to hold anything, but it's just protective. So this is Medium's Perky Lion. It's part of her Magical Menagerie series. I did have to squish him because he's meant to be wider this way. He's meant to have a longer body. But I needed to stitch with this. I needed to stitch this pattern with this floss on this fabric. And so I had to shorten the lion because the fabric is not much bigger than this. This is a Stitchy box silk for the body and an Almond M&M silk for the borders. So look at that. I can't decide. I really want to gift this to Miriam because it's her own pattern, but also like selfish. So I can't decide on that one. This one you might recognize. So here's another Floss Buddy. This one you might recognize because I just finished stitching it not too long ago. This is, I forgot the name of it. It's by Tiny Modernist. I stitched it in like a day. Not a day. I stitched this in a week. It took me the whole week. It's called Up All Night. Up All Night. I did change the colors a little bit to work with the Threadworks flosses that I was working with, but this is available, this pattern, if you love it. It's available on Cheryl's website, Tiny Modernist, as a PDF. It was in a box, and you couldn't previously get it outside of the box, but Cheryl has now been able to release it. Because, you know, there's like a holding period for boxes and stuff. So Cheryl has now been able to release it. So I love this piece, and I will most likely kit something up and have this be a charity auction. Oh, this one. Nobody's getting their hands on this one. I love this one so much. Here's the Floss Buddy portion of it. And this is the longer Floss Buddy. So these are meant for like overdyed flosses that come on their own thread drops. So you put them in sideways. So you can see Karina does different sizes, different flavors, all kinds of things. So this is very precious to me. This is one of my preciouses. This is one of my pieces from my first Most Magnificent Ink Circles round robin. This is Ars Robotica by Ink Circles. And I love this. This is on a piece of 40 count R&R linen. It's pink. I don't remember the colorway. I think it's called In the Pink. And then I used the splashes of purple you can see, like down here you can see it mostly, is a Stitchy box silk called, I think, Grape. And all of this red to pink variegation is an Almond M&M silk called Cherry Blossom. And the way that Tracy Horner designed this is she designed it so that the pieces that I asked to be stitched in Cherry Blossom, she designed that in a floss that would blend into the background mostly, but not entirely. So I kind of echoed that. And then you can't really see it out here on the edge, but you can see it here in the middle. The black floss is different on each one. And what I did is I sent 4 different skeins of black silk. This is all silk. I sent 4 different skeins of black silk from 4 different dyers. And I said to my friends that stitched on this, I said, choose your black silk and keep it. So I think one of these is Stitchy Box Bat Orchid, which is hands down my favorite floss. One of these is, I think, Be Stitch Me silk. One of them is Mrs. Sadis, and the other one is probably Fiberlicious Yummy Fibers. That's my guesses. Don't quote me on any of those, except the Bat Orchid and the Mrs. Sadis. This is Mrs. Sadis. Her colors are really saturated, and I'm pretty sure this is Bat Orchid down here. But I don't know what the others are. But like, now I have this piece that my friend stitched for me designed by someone that I now consider a friend, with silks dyed from people that I consider friends, made into a thing by someone. You know, if you know me, if you've been here any length of time, you know I am so heartily in love with things that my friends make, and I think that my friends are so talented. So I can't wait to kit up a project with this and use it. And then last but not least, as much as I gushed about that one, this, I believe, is the pièce de résistance of all of them. This is Baba Yaga from the Witchy Stitcher. Here's the front. There it is. I love this. Karina is so talented. She made this vinyl echo the outline of the stitching. This is Witchy Stitcher Baba Yaga. I think Witchy has this one, and she has like a swamp creature. Anyway, she has a couple of these in the series. I did modify this a little bit because in the original it calls for oranges, but I put it on this fabric, which is Picture This Plus Eek. And so I changed the oranges in the called for to greens. And I think when I did that, I didn't realize it, but when I did that, I was playing right into Karina's hands with this outside fabric, which I absolutely love. I love Baba Yaga. She'll come back again later. But this is incredible. And this is also one that I probably will not be able to give up. Look at that eyeball. Is it staring into your soul? Also, this matches my nails right now, so yes, amazing. So that's my happy mail from Karina. I also wanted to say that I'm not currently purchasing anything. I'm doing my very best to not purchase anything outside of my Patreon subscriptions each month. So I still want to tell you about things that my friends are releasing, right? Like the collaboration project that Bad Stitch is working on. I'm going to ask everyone to buy that. And I might actually buy that too, make a donation, because it's a donation. I'm going to justify it that way. But I also wanted to start a new section called Check This Freebie. Because, and this is inspired by everyone who made videos, especially cross-stitching the globe. They made a video, 2 videos actually, highlighting 50 free Halloween patterns and 50 free autumn patterns. And then also my friend Dr. Christy's Corner, she made a video highlighting, I think she called it at least 38 free Halloween patterns. But I want to encourage people to buy things because there's a lot of great things being released in the community right now. But I also want to support people who maybe aren't buying things and acknowledge the fact that I'm not buying anything. So I'm going to try to find a freebie every week and show you the freebie. And I want to try to find really good, like, maybe freebies that people haven't found yet. Okay? So this week I would like to show you, this is a blog by Kim S. And the blog is called String or Nothing. String or Nothing. And the blog is super interesting. Kim is really funny, very dry humor. And there's also a page of complimentary designs on here. And this is the one, and in a second you'll be like, aha, I got it. This is called Baba Yaga, and it was charted by Kim Salazar, that's whose blog it is, with rights to Laura Packer, who is she's a storyteller. It's all about this article is all about Kim and Laura. So, but look at this pattern. So this is a blackwork Baba Yaga pattern. You can go to, I'll link Kim's blog down below. You can go to her blog and you can check it out. But look at this. So all of this kind of shady area, that's full X stitches, full cross stitches. And then all of this in the middle, this is called blackwork. Most of you are probably very familiar with blackwork. But for those of you who are not familiar with blackwork is kind of, there's a technique to it if you're going to be very traditional about it. But the way I think about blackwork is it's a design made completely out of backstitch. And at first, I know some people are like, ugh, no thank you. But really the effect of it, especially when mixed with full crosses and done well, is absolutely spectacular. So this is my check out this freebie for this week. It'll be linked down below, string-or-nothing.com. I gotta stitch this. There's a bird on it. Here's Baba Yaga's hut on its chicken legs. It's got a spider. It's got like some weird mothy centipede thing. There's snakes. There's a gecko. There's acorns. There's snails. Like, I'm stitching this. And then it says it's just a story until the screaming starts. So I'm sure there's a story behind that. And that's why there's all of this. Oh, and this is great. So I just read this. Kim said, while I'm not charging for the thing, I do release it as a good deed wear. Subscribe to Laura's channel or make a donation / buy a thing. Otherwise, subsidize the creative professional of your choice. LauraPacker.com. Or she has a Patreon link. So check out Laura Packer on Patreon. I'll put, I won't link directly to the chart down below. I will link directly to Kim's blog. So link to the blog, find the chart, do the thing. If you so choose. But that's my new, check out this free thing every week. Okay. Last but not least, in the cross stitch section, we're going to talk about the auctions that I didn't post 2 weeks ago. So, the auctions that I didn't post 2 weeks ago are as follows. So I raise money for many charities, actually, but when I don't have a specific charity that someone else has asked me to support, my default charity right now is called RTFC, Restore Together Foundation for Care. This is a charity that's run by some of the surgeons that I work with and also my former boss. They go to the Dominican Republic every January and they perform orthopedic surgeries. You can go to their story on their website. There's also a cool section on a blog, and this gentleman did sign a release, so he's okay. But this is this is kind of the stuff that they do. So he was in a huge accident and ended up with bilateral, meaning both side femur fractures. This gentleman was walking around on his legs broken like this, doing life, right? Last year in January 2024, this year, I guess, they were able to fix his right leg. When they go back this year, they're going to fix his left leg. So it's just really exciting. And then I'm also sorry for the graphic pictures. He also had a very broken and comminuted but healed wrist. So they were able to fix his wrist as well. I should have done a warning. I'm sorry, everybody that doesn't like medical stuff. I'm a nurse, so it doesn't bother me. But that's where our donations go. Restore Together Foundation for Care. And, I like it. So some of this stuff is from my own stash and some of it was donated by friends. Much of it was donated by friends, and I appreciate that. First up, I went through these last week, but I swear I'll post them this week. This is the entire Year in Chalk series from Hands On Design from January all the way to December. It's every single chart. Just flip through them so that you're sure. What is that? What are we on? June, July, August, September. I love September. Summer don't go. October, November, and December. So it's every chart plus flosses. So none of these are the called for flosses exactly, but the person who donated this has matched up the flosses with the colors in the things. There might be one chart in here that doesn't have an overdye. I'll go through and look at it, but this should be enough. This is Freedom Stars from Victorian Motto. There should be enough of this to do all of them. And then I don't have enough charcoal or black fabric to stitch all of these, but I do have a half yard of 18 count Aida baked clay from Fox and Rabbit, and all of the colors will show up on that. So this is the first auction, all of the Year in Chalk series. Okay. Second auction is a yarn auction. Actually, the second and third auctions are yarn auctions. So the second auction is, I don't remember how many skeins. I have to count again. This is Cascade Yarns Cotton Rich DK. And there's 8 or 9 skeins. These are 2 different colorways. I didn't realize that the last time I was looking at them. These are 2 different colorways. This is color 6377. And this is color 2886. But I'm going to put them together because I think they work together. And I think you could make one thing out of both of them. See, one of them's a little more purpley periwinkle and one of them's a little more light blue. But you could put those together. And if not, that's still a lot of yarn. So that's auction number 2. You can tell I'm a knitter with a little lowercase k because I don't know what you're going to make with that. But somebody out there is like, ooh, yes, that's for me. This next one, I do know what this is. This is 31 skeins of a mystery box. This was a tiny presents box that I got from Fangirl Fibers, my friend Emily, Fangirl Fibers, and 31 skeins. I have pictures. Some of them I already balled up, I think 4, but there's 31 of them in here. And it comes with a copy of, this came with a copy of 999 Happy Haunts wrap. So you get my printed copy of the 999 Happy Haunts wrap. So that'll be auction item number 2. And then auction item number 3. Oh, hold on. Auction item number 3 is the one that I might put in this bag. So excuse me. It's right here. Because I am in the process of pulling floss for it. So this was donated by a friend who just finished stitching on it at Pacific Northwest Stitch Summit. She finished stitching on it. This is her original copy that she purchased from the designer when they were still around. And this is the Primitive Needle Mystic Sampler. So if you don't know the designer, Lisa, of the Primitive Sampler, she unfortunately she passed away. Her designs are no longer in print. So you can't get these anymore except on the secondary market. And please be careful on the secondary market. There is one seller that I've noticed on eBay. They're out of Arizona. Like sometimes you can look on eBay, where is this thing coming from? They're out of Arizona, USA. And they're selling copies of this one back here, Blackened Sky, for like $300 a piece. But they've sold no less than 8 copies. I don't know for sure, but they might be photocopying that chart and selling you a photocopy of a hard-to-find chart for $300. So please don't photocopy these charts. Please find someone that has them. If you must stitch it, find someone that has it and borrow it, or just admire it from afar. But all that to say, this is the true. This is the real one, donated by a friend. So what I'm looking to do now is make a conversion. There's like 15 colors of floss. This thing is 106 by 100, like 15 colors of floss. I have 3 so far, but I'm working on it. So I'll make a conversion into flosses that I have on hand because I don't have any of the called for, and then I'll also pull some fabric choices. I stitch my primitive needles on 40 count, and I have just one conversion that I use for all of them. But I'm making a new one for this one because I don't have doubles of all of those flosses. So this will be up for auction. And I think this would be great in this witchy bag. Not that this needs more, but why not, eh? So I'll put this in the witchy bag with my conversion, and you'll get floss and fabric with it. I'm not doing a full, I was calling them bendy box. I'm not doing a full bendy box of a kit for now because that's enough for me to just pull the flosses. So I think that's all. That's all the stitching stuff I have to talk about. Thank you for hanging out. I appreciate you. This was a long one already. If you want to hang out and hear about my tarot card of the day and the books that I'm reading, that would be great. If not, then I'll be streaming tomorrow morning on YouTube and Twitch and just stitching. Talking and stitching at 7 a.m. Pacific time. If I see you there, I would love that. If I don't see you there, that's okay. I'll see you hopefully here again next week. So if you're just here for the stitching, stitching's all pow, and I'll see you next time. If you're here for more, then let's talk about my tarot card for the day. I've been pulling a lot from this deck lately. This was a gift from my friend Anna. This is the Cozy Witch Tarot deck. And I have a whole mess of tarot decks, and they're all down here in my grandma's sewing box. And every morning I kind of open up the box and I say, which deck is speaking to me today? I don't go for any kind of continuity or like I used this one yesterday so I have to use it again, or I used this one so I can't use it again. But I've been pulling from the Cozy Witch a lot because I am feeling very cozy in our new house. I just love our house, y'all. I love it. So today I drew the High Priestess. And I like a couple things about this deck. Number one, it's all women. Every card is a woman. The Emperor is a woman. The Kings are women. They're all women. And number two, they have this little saying at the bottom that goes along with the card. And this one says, when in doubt, your first gut feeling can always be trusted. And then it also has a really good book. I recommend this deck. I like this deck a lot. It has a really good book that goes with it, so I'll read you the entry out of the book. It says, draped in an aura of secrets and mystery, the High Priestess seems like the kind of woman who just knows things. And while that may be the case, she wants you to know that she's just a normal human being like you and me. Truth is, all of us have our own intuitive abilities, though some of us don't know how to recognize them, while some of us actively choose to ignore them for the sake of our own comfort. You may be in a position where you would benefit from learning to recognize and use yours. Some say the trick is to go with your very first instinct. So what is yours telling you right now? Whatever it may be, tune into it and have trust. Follow it and see where it leads. I love that. You know I'm always making... You might not know, but if you've been here any length of time, you do know that I'm always being like... I make quick decisions, which is funny because I'm a slow processor. So that's put me in some very interesting positions in my life, being a slow processor of information, but a quick maker of decisions. I think that's taught me tenacity, actually, because I will very often make a decision and then after reviewing all of the information available, realize, ooh, yikes. And then the next step is, well, how do I make it? How do I make it happen? And so tenacity and, it's so far so good. It's working. Okay. And then for books, I did finish the book that I was reading last time, which is called Astrophysics for People in a Hurry. And that book is by Neil deGrasse Tyson, who's one of my faves. So this is the Spanish version, I think. But Astrophysics for People in a Hurry. It's just what it sounds like. It's astrophysics for people in a hurry. So, I don't know what else to say other than, like I talked about last time, this book does assume a baseline level of understanding of science. So, I listened to the book on audiobook, which 10 out of 10 because Neil deGrasse Tyson read it himself, which made it immensely more enjoyable. But I did have to pause the book more than a handful of times to Google something because he assumes that baseline level of knowledge. And I just found when I didn't have that baseline level of knowledge, I just stopped the book and asked the Google. So I feel like I learned a lot listening to this book. It was it was more work than I usually when I'm listening to a book, I just listen to the book. This was a little bit more work, but I think sometimes nonfiction demands a little more work from us, and I'm okay with that. So yes, I would recommend Astrophysics for People in a Hurry. I really, really liked it. And the book that I'm listening to now is called The Wager. It's by David Gran, and it says, I didn't know this, but it says he's the author of Killers of the Flower Moon, which I probably won't watch. It's really long. Unless somebody tells me differently, I probably won't watch it. But this book is about an English fleet that was outfitted to chase down a Spanish galleon who was carrying a ton of treasure. But in order to chase down this galleon, the English fleet had to go around Cape Horn at the bottom of South America, between South America and Antarctica. And spoiler alert, they didn't make it. So right now I'm about halfway through the book, and what's left of the crew of the Wager, which is the ship, is stranded on an island at the bottom of South America. And they're not in a good way. Spoiler alert. But some of them do survive. And so the book is kind of an exploration of what happened, what might have happened. David Gran is trying to piece it together from the prevailing practices of the times, ship's logs, memoirs and journals of people who survived it, and published. The interesting thing about this is a lot of the crew, when they came back, one group came back, told a story, thinking that they were the only survivors. And then a second group came back, told a different story that painted the first group in maybe not as great a light, came back to England. So once everybody's back to England, there were all these trials and who's at fault and who did bad things and who didn't do bad things. And so everyone started publishing their accounts. So there's all of these really conflicting accounts. And David Gran in this book tries to make sense of it. And so far, it's a really good story. Like, he's not... Sometimes he cites journals or memoirs, but a lot of it you can tell he's piecing in. Like, the crew just met up with... They did have a little bit of help for a short time from a group of indigenous peoples that were living down at the bottom of South America. And, of course, they behaved poorly and chased off the indigenous peoples. But David Gran took a lot of what we know now about that group of people and said, you know, if they had known this, blah, 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 then they would have known that. And I thought that was really interesting too, that it wasn't just from memoirs, but he was like giving us more information from all the sources. So far so good. It's about an 8-hour audiobook. And I would say where I am now, definitely so far worth the listen. So I think that's all I've got. Let me see if I have anything controversial to say. I haven't said anything controversial yet. No, 3 WIPs, lots of plans. I feel like my plans are fairly concrete and they're all things that have deadlines, but I'm not panicked about anything. So my ATC partner already knows who they are and they know that it's probably going to be a little bit late. Except, I don't know, that pumpkin krampus seems like it'll be a fast stitch. Talked about my books, talked about my Happy Mail, talked about check out this freebie. That's all I've got, y'all. So watch for the auctions to come up on my Patreon. I am going to put up a picture of the Mystic Sampler, but not a picture of all the flosses yet. I will, if I wait to pull the flosses before I post the pictures, I'll never do it. So I'll put up the pictures I have. Look for it on my Patreon. It'll be linked below. The auctions will close next Saturday when I film a Flosstube next Saturday. So I should be back next week. And then I'll be off the following week because the hospital is sending me to New Orleans for the Magnet Conference. So that'll be fun. What did I ask? Oh, let me know a couple of things, just to recap. Let me know. Oh, where am I? Did I close it? I might have closed it. Let me know where in the Edward Gorey part on Stitch for Pride, where should I put the peachy brown floss? I'm not sure where yet. And then also let me know, I don't think I asked this, but let me know. I had a tarot deck that was kind of dark and moody, but it wasn't really speaking to me, so I gifted it on to a friend and they like it. But let me know, if you're a tarot person, what tarot deck do you have that's kind of like dark and moody? Because I'm a Pisces and there's some days that I'm melancholy and I don't want to be not melancholy. I want to live there in my melancholy. And for those days, I need a tarot deck that's dark and moody. So hit me up down below with your recommendations for a dark and moody tarot deck, if you've made it this far. And I will see you next week. And until I see you, just do the best you can with what you have. And assume that maybe it'll work out. That's what I've been trying to do this week. All right. See you later.